Well, Shima, thank you for joining me today. Can you please, I'm going to start this interview with asking you if you can state your name and spell it, please.
My name is Shema Algassim. And it's spelled, should I spell it out?
Yeah.
Okay. It's spelled Shina, and my last name is Algassim. It's EL-GASIM.
Algassim, is that like kind of a typical name for Sudanese people, or would you consider it some sort of...
Yeah, it's kind of common, yeah.
common
So it's not like Smith here, but it's like one of those like common, but not
like the Jones, Smith,
not
Johnson.
like a little less, yeah, but
A little less than that level.
Yeah.
Alright, Shima, where were you born?
I was born in Shrewsbury, England.
Oh, okay, so you weren't born here in the States, or Sudan.
No.
So how did that come about?
Well, my parents, I think right after my parents got married, they moved to Saudi Arabia. So my dad worked there for a little bit, and then they had my brother and sister. And then after that, they moved to England, and that's when I was born. They lived there a couple years before I was born. And then after about like 3 years after I was born, we moved to the States.
So do you have any memories of that?
No, unfortunately not. I wish we stayed long
first
enough.
so that's really interesting.
A lot of people think it's cool when I was born in England.
I think so.
I mean, hey.
I mean, how many people can say that they were born here in the States, you know?
That's true.
Could you please state the names of your parents and provide the spelling?
Okay. My dad's name is Mohammed Algassim. My mom's name is Noha Ali. My dad's first name is Mohamed, and then the same last names. And then my mom's first name is Noha, and that's spelled Nuha, and then her last name is Ali Ayala.
Thank you. Do you recall where your parents were born? Were they born in the same area, or?
They were born in Khartoum, Sudan, which is the capital of Sudan.
Capital of Sudan. Is that more northern Sudan, southern Sudan?
That is northern Sudan.
Northern Sudan. And you have brothers and sisters, I believe, correct?
Yep.
Would you be able to tell me their names by any chance?
Do you have to spell it too?
No, you probably don't have to spell it, but...
Okay, my brother's name is Mahmoud, and my sister's name is May, and they're twins.
Oh, they're twins?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. If you can recall, since you were born in England, why did your father decide, or why did your parents decide to come here from the United States?
Honestly, because of like better job opportunities and better education, you know, why most people come.
Why, yeah, I could agree with that.
Yeah.
And where did your parents like first settle once they moved into the United States? Like, what was the land of opportunity for them?
We first moved to Northern Virginia. We lived in a city called Falls Church, and that was like 5 minutes from Washington, D.C. We stayed there for about 10 years. Yeah, we moved to Arizona when I was about like 13 or 14.
So most of your childhood was
Yes,
in
it was.
Virginia, on the east side. East Coast. So what do you remember most about growing up? Like,
In Virginia?
yeah.
I remember, I mean, you know, I just always hang out with my friends, you know, play.
Did you ever, if I can ask, did you ever experience any type of, I mean, it's in the eastern side. I know that the immigrants come over into that side. Did you experience any kind of differences or
From
anything
like
that?
Virginia to here, or like,
For like living in Virginia, did you like growing up just being different from everybody? Did you consider yourself to be different? Or?
no, actually, Virginia is so, Northern Virginia is so diverse. And like when we came here, it's like shocking because like the majority of people, like because we moved to Phoenix, and so the majority of people there were like white, and so it's like I was like honestly in middle school in Phoenix, it was me and this other black girl, and that's it in the school, and everyone was like white or like Mexican, and so that was kind of shocking. But yeah, it's really diverse. So,
But nobody really like treated you.
Oh no, but then
Of
again,
course.
we were like kids, so like
Yeah.
you
Okay.
know,
That's good.
yeah.
Can you, if like back in Sudan, were you be able to remember like what kind of typical activities? Like what's a typical day in Sudan? Because I know that southern Sudan and northern Sudan are kind of two different really places. So in regards to your parents that moved to Sudan, how did that come about as a typical day?
A typical day.
Like from like breakfast, I guess you could say. Like,
Okay,
starting with breakfast.
so everyone wakes up, and then we have breakfast. We have like breakfast part 1, part 2. So breakfast part 1 is just you have your tea, and it's usually served with milk, so like tea with milk, and some kind of like cookie or like donut. Like we have this thing called legemat, and it's like pretty much just deep fried dough with like powdered sugar on top. So it's similar to a donut but less sweet.
So is that something that's like typical as in? Sorry,
yeah. So like that's what we have. So for like the first right when you wake up, you go have tea and then you have like cookies or something. Like it has to be served with something.
Does that differ from the north and the south?
Honestly, I have no idea about the south. I can't tell you about the south because I've never been there, and I don't know if the culture there is different or not. But that's how we do it.
I mean, how? So like your parents don't like talking about the south either, like.
My parents. Well, the thing is, my parents have never been to the south, and I'm pretty sure like most of the people who reside like from Dome aren't really like familiar with like the south, you know, because I'm guessing that it's less poor and stuff. Because Khartoum is the city, and usually cities are like richer.
Yeah.
You know.
I've never worked.
Right. So I honestly don't know what they do in the south.
Typical lunch or dinner?
Okay, so typical lunch would be just a traditional dish with like salad, and it's usually served with bread or rice. And then dinner would be something a little lighter, or like in my grandma's house. Like whenever I'm at my grandma's house, we'd like usually like go out and get pizza or like something for dinner. So yeah, but like dinner would be served like really late, like at 9 o'clock.
That's like a typical dinner time.
Yeah.
That's a weird. That's kind of like the Filipinos too.
Really?
I've grown up eating pretty late.
Oh yeah.
Rather than America, where I've seen people eat dinner like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So when I first heard that, I thought it was really interesting, kind of different.
Yeah.
But you know, what could you do? So growing up in Sudan, like, do you know the different responsibilities between guys and girls? Like, are they different, or do they both kind of just do the same?
Okay, so they are different. Guys are usually responsible for like fixing stuff in the house, you know, bringing like the food, like bringing money for the food. That's what their job. Like it's just like a traditional like family, you know. And then the wife or the mother is responsible for cleaning the house, cooking, you know, just like as a housewife. And so if you have daughters and stuff, the daughters usually help their moms clean or cook. And then if they have sons, then the sons usually get sent out to like retrieve stuff. So like if something needs to be fixed in the house, someone needs batteries or like a calling card, something like that. That's what like the kids do. So like usually women don't do errands.
So women kind of just like stay at home and.
Yeah.
Is that kind of like expected in Sudanese culture, just to be a housewife?
It is.
So like, would you consider like men to have more power?
Yeah.
Power in general, or like over the household, or?
Well, I mean, they're the one who like they're the ones who bring like the money and stuff. I don't know about power. I mean, like usually, it's the home is usually referred to like the woman's home because she cares for it. And she like buys the furniture. You know, she designs the house. The guy, the husband, whatever, usually just brings like money. That's really it.
So did your parents, saying as the typical Sudanese family would do that, how did it differ from you? Because I know you grew up in the States. So, or grew up, you know, somewhat in the States, somewhat in England, but like without growing up in Sudan, did those kind of domains change for your siblings and you as well?
Yeah, me and my siblings.
Pretty much, like, did you do everything, or did you have?
We didn't have like specific chores to do. Like, my brother wasn't responsible for going out getting stuff or anything like that. But I mean, me and my sister, of course, like me and my sister would help clean the house and stuff. But it wasn't really like sex specific, I guess. And my brother was pretty like clean, so my mom would never have to ask him to like clean him or anything like that. But yeah, but like I mean, sometimes my mom was like, "You should like cook for your brother," something like that. But I mean, I guess that's. I mean, maybe it is. I mean, my parents did come from like straight up from Sudan, so of course they have like some of the culture.
The thing is, like, yeah, I think I'm exactly like you. I'm not a first generation. Like, I never grew up in the Philippines. However, my parents' teachings, you know, kind of trickled down to me.
Yeah.
So I know my culture from my parents.
Yeah, same.
Because I can't, you know, we don't live there. So I know that you're kind of at that age where you're dating and kind of like arranged marriages. I've heard. Is that kind of a typical thing in Sudan is arranged marriages kind of.
Okay, I'm just gonna explain what an arranged marriage is.
Yeah.
So in Sudan, an arranged marriage is considered being when a guy sees a girl and he's like, dang, like she's hot, I want her.
Yeah.
And so he like finds out like who like the family is, and then he and his like mother and dad come to the girl's house, and then the mother or the dad is like, I want your daughter for my son. And then, the daughter the girl who's getting proposed to gets to decide if she wants him or not. And so, it doesn't have to be like right away, like she doesn't have to answer right away. And so if she doesn't answer right away, like the parents just call the other parents and be like, yeah, she wants you, no, she doesn't want you.
So like, what about dating in Sudanese culture?
Dating is shunned upon.
Is shunned upon?
I mean, maybe that's too harsh of a word,
Yeah.
but like it's not like, but it's not like, yeah, but it's not like looked. It's like frowned upon, but like I don't know.
That's just not the proper way.
It's not the proper way exactly. And so what you do is see if you want to like marry this girl, or like you have to like court someone. So it has to be very formal. The parents have to know each other's. The parents have to know each other, and
You have to be agreed. Like,
right. And
before
then,
anything can happen.
right, and so like the whole point of this is because like reputation, really. So if this like woman, the Sudanese woman, sees this girl and this guy like out on the street together, then if they start talking crap and the parents don't know, then it's like the parents can't defend their child. Like parents can't be like, oh wait, he courted her, like he asked for our relationship.
So it's obviously frowned upon.
Yeah.
So parental approval is very, very important.
It's very important, yeah, especially for like reputation.
Mhm.
Because you don't want, a Sudanese person, their worst fear is for their daughter to like be known as going crazy. Daughters they don't really care about their sons. Like the sons can do anything, but like daughters are like,
Helps
They
you
have-
understand.
yeah, they have to be like pure, and like going around with guys is not a good thing. So,
You have to have a good reputation.
right, if you don't have a good reputation, and then it's gonna be so hard to like marry off your children if you don't have a good reputation too, because you're gonna be like,
Within the Sudanese community.
right, because Sudanese people talk like they like get together and like they talk, right? And so usually when a guy comes and asks to marry a girl, they ask about the family, like how's the family? Are they well educated? Do they have money? Like what's their reputation really? And so if the guy ends up like being like wild and stuff, like oh yeah, like I heard that he's always going out with like girls and stuff, then it's like no, I'm not gonna marry my daughter to your son. Like no.
Have you been having opportunities yourself? Have you had opportunities yourself to where someone has wanted to court you? I've asked your parents about that.
No, I have not, because it's kind of different here.
Is it
Here-
different mistakes?
Yeah, it depends on the family, but like people here are like more progressive, and it's I would say that I have a mixture of like American culture and Sudanese culture, but like I talk to guys, through texting and stuff. You sometimes meet up with them, and like especially Sudanese guys, like if a Sudanese guy comes up to me and is like I want to talk to you, of course it's not gonna be like that.
Yeah.
But like he like talks to me. I like tell my mom, and mom's like, okay, cool. Like get to know him first, and then you can like start going out with him.
So of course you tell your parents before anything.
Right. So like, and then my mom was like, you have to let me know. You have to let me know if you're like talking to a guy, so that if you end up going out with a guy, I can like defend you. If like some like Sudanese ladies talking about you. So yeah.
And that happens a lot in Sudanese community.
Yeah, people gossip a lot, and it's so unfortunate because it's such a great culture, and people are so hospitable and so nice, but they gossip a lot. So that's why reputation is like so important, You gotta make
You
sure.
want to have like your family honored.
Yeah, you gotta make sure your family's on point, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. So you're not at that stage right now, because I believe what your main goal right now is not to get.
Oh no, my main goal is not to get married. But if I was in Sudan, if I was raised in Sudan, then
Would you already have been married? Do you believe?
no, I'd probably be in the age of getting married. Like,
Right now.
yeah, like I'll be like looking for like a husband
Right now.
right now. Yeah. Like for instance, my cousin, she's a year older than me, so she's like 21. I think she just turned 21. She's like on that husband grind. Like she's been like looking for husbands. I'm not even kidding.
In Sudan?
Yeah, and she's like, I need to get married, and it's almost to the point where I'm like, make sure you get to know him before you like marry him. Like, because I'm afraid that she's gonna rush it because she wants to get married so bad, so fast.
Why is she?
It's just part of
Just
the
a person.
culture. It's just part of the culture. Like,
Like that's the next step for her.
if you're like near the age of 30, then you're not considered like marryable. Unfortunately, I mean that's how it is in Sudan.
What other qualities considered to be marriage material and not marriage material?
It's usually guys who are marriage material. Girls don't really have that hard of a time. You know, once you attract a guy, then you're done.
Yeah.
Pretty
Then
much.
it's up to the-
Then it's right, exactly. So that's why like people always go out like they have to look hot and stuff, because once you get a guy's attraction, once you like he starts liking you, then you're set. But for guys it's different. For guys he has to have an education, his family has to be good, you know, like he has to be ambitious in some sort of way, and he has to have money or something like that. But that's how it is. So it's more pressure on guys to get. I mean, it's more pressure on girls to get married, but it's harder for guys because they have to have like something like.
That reputation's more forward towards it.
Right. Because like the girls are some girls don't go to school, so they're gonna be relying on the guy a lot. So the guy has to have a job, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone's parents would just want to like marry you off to like a crappy guy.
With no job, no like future.
Right. So
Of course.
you guys both are gonna be like screwed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, do you believe it's like your culture? Do you feel like your culture's like heavily influenced by your religion, or would you say those are like two completely different things, or they have somewhat of a relationship? Or
No, I would say that my culture is very influenced by religion, and the religion in Sudan is Islam.
Yeah.
So people dress conservatively, you know, like you party, don't drink, you know, stuff like that. But if you get caught doing any of the stuff, then your reputation is pretty much done.
Okay.
And so like, when like I know for me and my sister, like when we like go to, like if we're talking to someone, like, we have to make sure that like he's some sort of, he's in a way like religious, like at least he does like the least like he could do for the religion, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of important, because that's how we grew up.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, like some Sudanese people like drink and they, you know,
like give up their.
right, and yeah, they like don't dress conservatively and stuff like that. But I mean, in the end, it's their decision. The culture is influenced by the religion, but I mean,
But it doesn't make us everything.
right, people can choose not to practice.
Yeah. So growing up in America, what do you feel like it means to be in America?
Honestly,
Like since you're the first kind of generation, the first generation to really grow up here, what would you tell your grandkids what it means to be an American at this time, at this point in your life, from your parents' perspective?
from my parents' perspective.
From your perspective,
Okay.
from being the first generation.
From my perspective, I like being an American, but I also love being Sudanese. Like I love the Sudanese culture. But there's some, but I think I try to take from the good from the Sudanese culture and American culture, and then just mix it into like one. I guess.
So it's like a benefit of being cross-culturally
Right.
diverse in knowledge.
Like I love being independent. Like
Yeah.
Sudanese girls are independent. Like they're super independent. And it's disgusting. It's like, girl, get your life together.
Yeah.
You need to go to school. You can't rely on a man. And so I like being independent. And then I like being able to leave the house. Like, fortunately, I'm going to I like attend the University of Arizona. And like some people in Sudan, Khartoum is like not that big. And so if you go off to college, then you're just going to be staying with your parents.
Yeah.
And so I like being away from parents to be more independent myself, and like to find who I truly am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's just some things about being an American that's really nice, and there's some things about being Sudanese person that's really nice.
So you're just kind of like the individualism from the United States, you have the background and the base of what you've learned in Sudan and being Sudanese,
Yeah.
basically. And meshing that together to become your own kind of individual person.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
Alright,
Exactly.
Shima. Thank you very much for joining me today.
You're welcome.